Margot, then Dan.
Hey, Margot.
Hi. I have what may be an elementary question. I'm not sure. I wonder if you would say more about what you mean when you say expansion. I know you've used it in relation to meditation. I feel like I'm getting the idea of intellect and intuition and so forth, but I feel like I don't know what you mean by expansion. Does that just mean getting outside of oneself, or?
Well, expansion usually in like, have you ever done like some meditation of any sort?
Yes.
And you know that phase where you kind of being quiet and then you start to like kind of like take off a little bit, so to speak. And then you're kind of feels like very nice and blissful, and then you kind of come back into your body and like, ugh, okay, I'm back. Have you ever had that experience?
I guess I think so. What it seemed like to me is that I suddenly realize that I've been somewhere else, sort of.
Yeah, so expansion could mean like consciousness expanding, but usually it's outside of the body for most people. Like when you've done a meditation, it's very similar to like when you fall asleep and you start dreaming, like that dream time, you're like in an expanded state. And so meditation would be that like everything's kind of quiet and then you kind of, it's not really that you take off, but expansion happens like outside the body. Like you go into a state where the mind gets kind of quiet and use like touch of like the senses, and then you have your little experience, and then you start coming back into your body. Your awareness is back to your body, and then you're aware of your body again. And so that can also happen in a consciously awake state, especially in states of like when you're doing a oneness practice, for example. But you can be very conscious and awake when that happens, but you would shift outside of your normal ways of thinking. Like your mind would go very quiet. The chatter in the head would go away, and you again still expand beyond the senses, but you're awake and you're not like off somewhere, you're present, but you're beyond like a sensory state.
And you're saying that you're aware of that at the time.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like tell me about one of your experiences, and like maybe we can use it as an example.
I sort of don't know what to say, because I guess it's more like what I said a bit ago, that I will it'll seem, I mean, I'm not aware of it at the time, but then
Right.
but then I sort of am aware again, and I think, oh, I was.
What just happened, right?
Yes,
Like,
yeah,
or where did I go? Yeah,
exactly.
that would be an expansion. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right, that helps a lot. Then
Yeah.
I
You know how like sometimes even like when you lay down and like say you're taking a little nap or something, there's sleep, but even when you're in deep sleep to where you kind of forget where you're at. Like if you were to wake up, you'd have to look around like, oh yeah, I'm at home, but maybe you start dreaming or you just get really, really out there, right? That would be an expansion or expanded state.
and
Most people experience expansion like during sleep time.
I guess the thing that trips me up is being aware of it at the time.
Yeah, so even small levels, because there's degrees. So I would say even small levels, you could be sitting there and still like consciously aware, but you'll still expand again beyond the senses. Where like right here, like okay, I'm listening to my words. There's the light. There's the things on the wall. I'm very aware of my surroundings, and then in the expanded state, I still might be conscious, but I'm beyond my words. I'm beyond like what's on the wall. Like, I've taken off a little bit, but I'm still like awake.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yeah, it's definitely
Okay.
helpful. I need to um, think and maybe observe a little bit more, but yes, it's very helpful. It's more than I had before.
Like tonight we'll do a blessing, like right after the Zoom, we jump over to a star and we do a prayer blessing
Mhm.
for the prayer petitions that come in. And then Wednesday nights, we do two little half-hour things where we do just some meditation, components or something like that. Like in that, you could have some experiences to where you could go, that's what that is.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just to share, like when I was young, I'm not saying this for you, but like I'll just share like some of my first times that I expanded where I wasn't like asleep or something, it freaked me out. Like when I sat down to do meditation the first time, I think I was like 15, and all of a sudden there was this, like I felt calm and peaceful, and then there was this tremendous wave of like a blast of just brilliant white light. Like it shook me out, and I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that again. It freaked me out. So it's sometimes what the reason why I'm saying that is, the intellect or the conscious mind a lot of times is trying to control or maintain the environment and even the thoughts. There's like this kind of like managing or control. And when you start to go in that expanded state, it's like the intellect loses control of everything. You're not out of control, but the intellect loses control a little bit. And um, I would say, I think even for a little bit, it might not even feel very nice to some people. Like to me, I don't know that it felt good for the few times. And then after a while, I was like, yeah, this is nice. This actually makes me feel better. This makes my emotions and my mind better. But the first time I had experienced it, kind of freaked me out. Like freaked me out a lot actually. And like I like to use the term beyond the senses, but it's your intellect is not really going to be present with you in that place. Like it's a place of intuition. Um, so you can be in an intuitive state and be expanded. I mean, there's times like when people are exercising, like when they talk about when they get that runner's high, they could be in the middle of exercising, say running or skiing, riding a bike, something like that, and they would have that expansion. And when they have that expansion, their body seems almost like superhuman at the time. Like it's not being held back by like physical rules, so to speak. And it doesn't last for very long. Like it usually only lasts for like maybe 20, 30 seconds or a minute, but it can happen. And so it doesn't always have to be about meditation. Um, but another way of saying that is like, say you're playing music or you're doing work or you're cleaning out the garage and you just hit that zone, where it's almost like you're feeling the present, the future, and the past, like all in the moment. That could be another form of expansion. So they can look a little different.
Well, I've wondered if maybe I've had the experience but didn't know how to identify it that way.
That's why I was saying let's
Yeah,
share some of your experiences, because that's probably the case. So, it's like you grew up eating a banana, but you called them yellows. And then you came here and somebody goes, have you had a banana? No. And then they hand you a banana and they go, yeah, I've eaten yellows all the time, but I've never had a banana.
right.
I think you're probably having that.
That
Like
that's
when you have it, if I could be standing when you have it, I go, see, that's expansion. You go, oh, I call that my my afternoon nappy time, or you know what I mean, whatever it is, or that's where I go to my creative place, or you know, it's probably something where you've had it, you've experienced it, but we're just using different terms for it.
Yeah, I wonder. That's really encouraging.
Yeah, yeah.
Thanks very much.
And here's the thing too, is if you hadn't have had very many experiences like that, those first few times are usually very they can be very profound, because like there'll be almost like an explosion that happens, like an explosion of light, or your awareness will really like take off. And so if it hasn't happened for you, which I think it probably has, but you know, you grew up eating yellows, right? The it's a very nice experience for you when it does happen. Like it will be almost extra intense when it does happen.
Thanks very much.
Years